Before the witches of Salem, before the cauldron-stirring crones of Shakespeare, there was a power far older and far more terrifying. We often picture the Greek gods as bright Olympians ruling from a sunlit mountaintop. But in the shadows of their golden age, an ancient force remained completely untouched. She was born of Titans, yet she outlasted their destruction. She held the keys to the heavens, the earth, and the deepest, darkest abyss. Even Zeus, the almighty king of the gods, respected her ancient privileges and dared not cross her. She is the Watcher at the crossroads, the bringer of light, and the undisputed Queen of Witchcraft. This is the story of Hecate. How did a starborn titan transform into the fearsome deity of ghosts, magic, and the night? Step into the shadows and let us uncover the truth. To understand the immense power of Hecate, we must look far beyond the familiar halls of Mount Olympus. Long before Zeus hurled his first thunderbolt, the universe was ruled by the Titans, a primordial race of staggering size and elemental fury. Hecate was born of this ancient bloodline. Her father was Perses, the titan of destruction and cosmic ruin. Her mother was Asteria, the titan goddess of nocturnal oracles and falling stars. From the very moment of her birth, Hecate was infused with a unique cosmic duality. She carried the destructive, earth-shaking power of her father and the mystical, starlit wisdom of her mother. When the great war known as the Titanomachy erupted, the cosmos was torn apart. Zeus and his siblings waged a brutal 10-year campaign against the Titans for control of the universe. Mountains were shattered, oceans boiled, and the old regime was violently cast down into the pitch-black pits of Tartarus. Yet, amidst this apocalyptic purge, Hecate stood apart. She did not fall with her kin. Recognizing the new order, she allied herself with the Olympians, but she did so not as a subservient captive, but as an equal force of nature. Zeus, who was famously paranoid and quick to strip power from his rivals, did something entirely unprecedented when it came to Hecate. He looked upon this Titan-born goddess and chose to honor her. He did not diminish her domains. Instead, he granted her unprecedented. Ancient texts tell us that Zeus revered her. Above all others, he allowed her to retain her dominion over the earth, the sky, and the sea, a triple threat of influence that made her uniquely versatile. Hecate was a deity of the wilderness, of chilled beard, and of sudden, unexpected wealth. Men would pray to her before heading into battle or setting sail on treacherous waters. She was a benevolent figure, a generous bestower of gifts to those who showed her proper reverence. At this point in her history, she was not yet the terrifying figure of the underworld. She was a brilliant, radiant goddess, carrying the starlight of her mother. But the universe is a place of constant shifting balances. While the Olympians basked in the sunlight, the shadows were waiting for a queen. And Hecate's true destiny was slowly unfolding in the dark. As the new Olympian order settled, the Greek world became a place of strict boundaries. There was the realm of the living, bathed in the light of Apollo, and there was the realm of the dead, shrouded in the gloom of Hades. But what happens in the spaces between? Who governs the thresholds, the doorways, and the places where paths intersect? This became the absolute domain of Hecate. She evolved into a liminal goddess, a deity of the The ancient Greeks viewed crossroads as places of immense supernatural power and vulnerability. When a traveler reached a point where three roads met, they were forced to make a choice. It was a moment of uncertainty, a place where the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm grew thin. Hecate became the undisputed guardian of these crossroads. She was often depicted as having three faces, or three bodies, allowing her to see in all directions at once. She watched over the traveler, but she also governed the restless spirits that gathered in these transitional spaces to appease her. The Greeks would leave offerings known as Hecate's suppers at these intersections during the dark of the moon. These meals consisted of garlic, raw fish, and cakes illuminated by miniature torches. They were left to seek her favor, but also to ward off the phantoms and demons that followed in her wake. It is here that we see the shift in her persona. The radiant Titan-born goddess was increasingly associated with the eerie, the unseen, and the frightening. Her association with light also transformed. She was still a bringer of light, but no longer the gentle starlight of her mother. Hecate became the torchbearer, carrying twin flames. Her torches were not meant to comfort. They were meant to reveal that which was hidden, shining a light on forbidden knowledge. She was accompanied by the howling of black dogs, animals deeply sensitive to the presence of spirits. When dogs barked at an empty street corner, the Greeks knew that Hecate was passing by. She was mastering the margins of the world, preparing for an event that would pull her entirely into the underworld. The transformation of Hecate from a goddess of boundaries to the queen of the underworld was sealed by the tragic abduction of when Hades, lord of the dead, burst through the earth in his black chariot to steal the goddess of spring. The world was largely oblivious, but Hecate was listening. From Hecate, hidden away from the sun, she heard Persephone's terrified screams echoing through the ether. For 9 days, Persephone's mother, Demeter, wandered the earth in a desperate frenzy. She let the crops of the world wither and die. The other gods remained silent, too fearful or too indifferent to challenge Hades and Zeus, who had secretly arranged the kidnapping. But Hecate stepped forward. On the 10th day, she emerged from the shadows, carrying her blazing twin torches. She approached the heartbroken Demeter and offered the one thing no one else would: the truth of what she had heard. Hecate guided Demeter to Helios, the sun god, and together they uncovered the grim reality of Persephone's fate. When a compromise was reached, someone was needed to guide Persephone through the treacherous paths between the realms of the living and the dead. Hecate took on this solemn duty. She became Persephone's constant companion, her guide, and her protector in the realm of shadows. By taking on this role, Hecate secured a permanent place in the underworld. She became an integral part of its hierarchy. The spirits of the restless dead, the ghosts of those who died violently, now fell entirely under her command. Her torches, once a symbol of the stars, now illuminated the gloomy shores of the river Styx. The Titan-born deity had fully embraced the dark, becoming the patron goddess of witchcraft and forbidden magic. With her domain firmly rooted in the underworld, Hecate's power evolved into something entirely new and deeply feared. Because she navigated the realms of the living and the dead, she understood the delicate threads that bound them together. She knew the secrets of the earth, the toxic roots that grew in the dark, and the incantations that could manipulate nature. Hecate became the undisputed master of pharmakeia, the ancient Greek practice of using herbs, poisons, and medicines. Through this mastery, she was crowned the patron goddess of witchcraft. In the ancient world, magic was not a whimsical fantasy. It was a gritty, dangerous, and highly secretive practice. People believed that through specific rituals, one could summon the spirits of the dead or bind an enemy with a curse. None of this could be achieved without invoking Hecate. Witches and sorcerers across the Mediterranean turned to her in the dead of night. They inscribed her name on lead tablets, known as curse scrolls, which were then buried in graves. These were delivered directly to the underworld. Hecate's influence over magic was so profound that she became a spiritual mother. Consider Circe, the legendary sorceress who turned the crew of Odysseus into swine. Circe's immense power to manipulate reality and brew transformative potions was a direct inheritance from Hecate. Then there was Medea, the tragic and terrifying princess of Calcutta. When she helped Jason, she did so by calling upon Hecate. She gathered herbs under the light of the full moon and sacrificed black sheep at midnight. Her greatest feats were merely echoes of Hecate's divine will. As centuries passed, Thessaly became the epicenter of this dark magic. The witches of Thessaly were rumored to be so powerful that they could literally pull the moon down from the sky. And who did they worship? They worshipped the Titan-born goddess of the crossroads. Hecate had transitioned from a benevolent bestower of wealth into the ultimate authority on the occult. She held the keys to the forbidden arts, offering immense power to those brave enough to seek her out in the shadows. Before the golden halls of Olympus were built, there was a power that thrived in the spaces between worlds, a force ancient, dark, and deeply misunderstood by man. Hecate, a titaness of ancient lineage, underwent a transformation that would haunt the dreams of mortals forever, turning from celestial light toward the eternal growing shadows of the night. Her arrival is heralded by the chilling howls of black hounds, spectral creatures of the void who haunt the remnants of shadowed battlefields under a cold, moonless sky. Among her retinue are the horrific demonic entities with mismatched legs of polished bronze and beast, prowling the lonely mountain roads in search of lost, weary travelers. These shapeshifters wear the faces of beautiful women to lure the unwary into the darkness, only to reveal their monstrous features and predatory nature once the trap is set. In the flickering light of ancient homes, fearful mothers tell tales of the crone, whispering her name in hushed tones, while praying the darkness will not claim their children. Every doorway holds a Hecate shrine, a three-faced stone sentinel acting as a desperate barricade against the restless mists and the spirits that walk within the chilling night air. Sorcerers and necromancers gather in secret at the crossroads, pouring honey, milk, and dark offerings into the earth to invoke her favor and open the gates of the underworld. She stands majestic at the colossal stone gates of the underworld, the final threshold where the living meet the eternal, swirling ghosts that drift like smoke around her form. When the last torch is finally extinguished, remember, the shadows belong to her. She is the Queen of Ghosts, and her silver eyes are always watching you from the dark. When the Roman Empire conquered the Greek world, they adopted the ancient gods and gave them new names and new identities. Hecate was absorbed into the Roman pantheon as Trivia, the goddess of the three intersecting roads. For many of the ancient deities, this Roman syncretism marked the beginning of the end. Their myths were diluted. As the centuries rolled on toward the fall of the empire, most of the Olympians faded into mere literary symbols. But Hecate, the resilient survivor of the Titanai Machi, defied the odds once again. During late antiquity, Hecate experienced a massive and unexpected philosophical elevation through a collection of mystical texts known as the Chaldean oracles. In these texts, Hecate was completely real. She was no longer a frightening witch prowling graveyards. Instead, she was promoted to the highest cosmic order. The oracles proclaimed Hecate to be the anima mundi, the living soul of the world. In this mystical system, there was a supreme, unknowable father representing pure intellect, and there was the physical, material universe. Hecate was the vita, vibrating energy between them. She was the divine conduit, the barrier, and the bridge. Her power captured the thoughts of the Father and breathed them into the physical world, creating life itself. She was the thundering cosmic womb from which all nature sprang, the vibrant force holding the universe together. She began as a titan, adapted to survive Zeus, and descended into the underworld to guide the lost souls. Long after the temples of Zeus and Athena crumbled into dust, the torch-bearing Queen of Witchcraft remained. She survived because she is the goddess of the threshold, forever standing in the doorway between the known and the unknown. To truly grasp the immense power of Hecate, we must examine the sacred objects she carried. Ancient statues and pottery never depict the gods empty-handed. Their tools are literal manifestations of their cosmic authority. For Hecate, these symbols are profoundly revealing, pointing to a goddess who held absolute control. The most significant of these symbols is the key. Hecate is often portrayed holding a heavy, iron key, and this was not merely a metaphor. As the goddess of doorways and thresholds, she literally held the keys to the underworld. She was the gatekeeper who locked the dead within Hades. But her keys unlocked far more than physical doors. Ancient mystery cults believed she held the keys to esoteric knowledge and hidden truths of the universe. Equally important was her dagger, a symbol that often confuses modern observers who associate it strictly with violence. In her hands, it was a tool. The dagger was a tool of spiritual severance and protection. As a deity of magic, she used this blade to cut the invisible cords of negative forces. Witches would invoke her dagger to sever curses or banish malevolent entities. It was the ultimate weapon of a protector guarding the vulnerable from harm. Then there is the Strophalos, or Hecate's wheel. This is an ancient emblem consisting of a labyrinthine serpent coiled around a central hub. The labyrinth represents the complex journey of human life. The serpent is a symbol of rebirth, shedding its skin as a soul transforms through trials. Hecate stands at the center of this wheel. She does not remove the obstacles of the labyrinth, but she provides the wisdom required to navigate them. To spin the Strophalos in ancient times was to invoke her raw, primal magic, drawing her attention to the mortal realm. Together, the key, the dagger, and the wheel paint a picture of a highly active, commanding deity. She is not sitting passively on a throne. She is unlocking the deep mysteries of the cosmos, cutting away spiritual decay, and guiding her followers through the labyrinth of existence. Her tools were practical, designed to manage the chaos of the threshold. By understanding these symbols, we realize Hecate was an active, necessary force. She provided structure to the unseen world, ensuring that the boundaries between life, death, and magic were strictly maintained. While the tales of witchcraft and wandering demons dominated the night, the daylight hours revealed a deeply surprising aspect of Hecate's character. Despite her fearsome reputation as the queen of the underworld, she was fiercely beloved as a protector of the vulnerable. The ancient Greeks gave her the title of Karatrophos, which translates to the nurse or protector of the young. It may seem like a glaring contradiction that the goddess of ghosts was also the guardian of children. But within the logic of the ancient world, it made perfect sense. Childbirth in antiquity was not a modern medical procedure. It was a terrifying life or death threshold. It was the ultimate liminal space, the exact boundary between the unseen realm of spirits and the physical world of the living. Because Hecate ruled all thresholds, she was inherently present in the delivery room. Mothers would desperately pray to her, asking her to stand guard at the doorway of life, using her torches to guide the newborn soul. If the child survived, Hecate was thanked. If tragedy struck, she was the one who guided that fragile soul back into the underworld. She was the solemn watcher of life's most dangerous transition. Her protection extended beyond infants to those pushed to the very margins of ancient society. Women who held very little political or social power in ancient Greece found a powerful, uncompromising patron in Hecate. She was an independent goddess who answered to no husband and bowed to no king, not even Zeus. She represented an untamed female autonomy that deeply resonated with women who felt voiceless in a fiercely patriarchal world. When formal justice failed them, women turned to Hecate's magic to seek retribution against abusive husbands or corrupt officials. Furthermore, Hecate became the champion of the outcast, the exile, and the stranger. Because she resided at the crossroads, she was the goddess of travelers who had nowhere else to go. The offerings left for her, the so-called Hecate's suppers, served a dual purpose. While ritually offered to appease the restless dead, these meals were often eaten by the starving, homeless populations. Hecate's fierce reputation ensured no wealthy citizen dared steal the food, inadvertently providing a divine soup kitchen for the poor. Through her absolute dominance of the shadows, she provided a bizarre but highly effective safety net. The night-wandering crone was, in truth, the final defender for those who had absolutely nothing left. As the ancient world eventually crumbled, the old gods were either demonized or completely forgotten. The rise of new religious orders brought an aggressive purge of pagan deities, and none suffered a more brutal character assassination than Hecate. The changing times could not tolerate an independent, dark goddess of magic. Complex, multifaceted deity who protected children and guided the cosmos, was aggressively stripped of her benevolent traits. She was flattened into a one-dimensional caricature of evil. She was officially branded a demon. Her followers were no longer seen as seeking ancient wisdom, but as heretics trafficking with darkness. This vilification cemented the modern stereotype of the wicked witch. You can see her profound influence in the defining literature of the Western world. When William Shakespeare wrote Macbeth, he needed a figure of ultimate supernatural terror to lead the three weird sisters on the Scottish moors. He did not invent a new demon. He specifically summoned Hecate. In the play, she appears as the angry, dominant master of the witches, directing their malevolent spells against the king. Shakespeare's portrayal forever locked her into the public imagination as the quintessential, bubbling cauldron-stirring crone. Yet, despite centuries of demonization, Hecate refused to be entirely erased from the human consciousness. She survived in the darkest corners of folklore, waiting for a profound cultural shift. In the 20th century, as psychology began to explore the hidden depths of the mind, thinkers introduced the concept of the shadow self. Modern scholars realize that Hecate is the ultimate mythological representation of this shadow. She forces us to confront our fears, our mortality, and the raw, unpolished aspects of our nature. This psychological awakening paved the way for a massive revival in modern times. Today, in the traditions of contemporary spirituality, Hecate is no longer feared. She is deeply venerated. She is embraced as the Dark Mother, a symbol of immense female empowerment, boundaries, and unapologetic strength. Modern practitioners view her as a guide through the personal underworlds of transformation. The altars have returned. The 20th century brought a cultural revolution that the ancient Olympian gods could never have anticipated. For hundreds of years, the very concept of witchcraft had been violently suppressed, driven entirely underground by fear and religious persecution. But as the modern era dawned, society began to aggressively question the rigid structures that had defined it for so long. Alongside massive movements for social liberation and gender equality came a profound spiritual awakening. In the shadows of this upheaval, a new movement known as modern paganism began to take root. And at the very center of this spiritual revival stood the ancient, unyielding figure of Hecate. For modern practitioners, Hecate is not a relic of a dead religion, nor is she a malevolent hag. Instead, she has been entirely reclaimed and elevated as the Dark Mother. Acknowledging the mysterious depths of the human experience, modern followers turn to Hecate because she is a goddess of the margins, representing independent femininity that refuses control. Modern practitioners deeply revere Hecate in her aspect as the crone, the ultimate keeper of wisdom. In a society that worships youth, she offers a radical alternative: the power of aging and lived experience. She has survived the labyrinth of life and holds the keys to profound esoteric knowledge. In today's spiritual landscape, Hecate is viewed as the ultimate guide through personal trauma. When an individual faces a metaphorical underworld, they do not pray to gods of sunlight and easy answers. They turn to the torchbearer. They seek the goddess who knows the darkest paths by heart. Hecate teaches that the dark is not something to be feared. It is a necessary, unavoidable crucible for transformation. You cannot reach the light of dawn without first navigating the pitch-black night. By worshipping Hecate today, people are tapping into a lineage of power that predates the modern world, finding immense strength in the Titan-born goddess who survived the fall of the old world. To truly understand the enduring modern relationship with Hecate, we must look at how her ancient rites have been adapted for the 21st century. One of the most significant practices that has survived the millennia is the observance of the Deipnon, or Hecate's supper. In ancient Athens, this specific ritual was performed on the darkest night of the lunar month, when the moon is completely invisible. The Greeks would leave physical offerings to appease the restless dead. Today, this lunar timing is still rigorously observed by her modern devotees. A modern Deipnon is a deeply personal, fiercely introspective ritual. As the moon vanishes, a practitioner will gather simple, historically accurate offerings: a bulb of pungent garlic, a drizzle of honey over bread, or a raw egg. But the physical offering is only half of the ritual. The modern Deipnon is fundamentally about clearing away the psychic debris. It is a dedicated time for deep spiritual house. Followers of Hecate use this dark night to intensely reflect on the toxic habits and heavy emotional baggage that are holding them back. When they step out into the quiet night to leave their offerings at a local crossroads, they are physically leaving their burdens behind. They call upon Hecate and her symbolic iron dagger to sever the invisible ties that bind them to their pain. It is spiritual liberation. Once the offering is placed, ancient tradition dictates that the practitioner must walk away without looking back, symbolizing a refusal to hesitate. This practice highlights a profound psychological aspect. Hecate demands absolute accountability. She is not a deity who grants easy wishes. She requires her followers to face their deepest fears and name their traumas aloud. The ritual is a physical manifestation of a choice. In this way, Hecate's ancient magic has evolved into a tool for modern choosing a new path forward under the moonless sky. The journey of Hecate is unlike any other in the vast annals of ancient mythology. Most gods are entirely static. They are born with a specific, rigid domain, and they remain there until they are eventually forgotten. But Hecate is defined by her absolute refusal to remain fixed in one place. She is the ultimate survivor, a complex deity in a state of constant, masterful evil. She began as a radiant child of the Titans, wielding the elemental power of the stars and the earth. When the universe changed hands and the Olympians took the throne, she adapted, securing a place of respect in the court of Zeus. When the tragedy of Persephone unfolded, Hecate did not look away. She willingly descended into the oppressive gloom of the underworld, transforming herself into the absolute, uncontested Queen of the Dead. She embraced the restless spirits, the howling hounds, and the dark, potent magic of the earth. She gave humanity the dangerous gift of witchcraft, holding the keys to the unseen world and demanding respect from great sorcerers. Even when empires fell and new religions sought to twist her image, she simply retreated to the shadows. She is the eternal reminder that power is not always found in the blinding light of the sun. Sometimes, the truest, most enduring strength is forged in the pitch black. It is found in our ability to navigate our personal underworlds and to emerge on the other side completely transformed. The story of Hecate is not just a myth about an ancient witch. It is a mirror reflecting the resilient human spirit. The night-wandering crone is still watching. Her torches remain lit, and the magic of the threshold will endure forever. Thank you for walking the shadowed paths of the crossroads with us today. If this journey into the world of Hecate captivated you, please consider leaving a like and sharing your thoughts in the comments. We would love to hear which aspect of the Dark Mother's history fascinated you the most. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an episode of our ancient explorations. Until next time, keep seeking the truth in the shadows and stay curious.